But today I have the pleasure of introducing someone who affiliated with St Bridget's, who is on all accounts an overachiever, someone who has achieved an enormous amount in the field of track and field for Australia. And I want to just list her achievements. We have with us a 3-time Olympic game representative for Australia, a 4-time Commonwealth Games representative for Australia. She's won in 3 of those Commonwealth Games. She's won 3 gold medals. She's represented Australia 4 times in World Championships. She's won 1 World Indoor gold medal, 1 World Indoor silver medal. She's been a national champion for 800 metres 9 times, and 5 times she's been a national champion for Australia in the 400 metres. So please put your hands together for Tamsin Lewis. Welcome, Tamsin. How does it feel, if we can just start off, how does it feel to stand back there and hear that list of achievements for your career?
I got a little distracted actually because your boys were climbing the stage. I thought they were ready to take the microphone. You can see that they're taking after you, they're ready to be out there, yeah. No, it's good, like obviously I'm getting towards the end of my career at the age of 34. You know, there's obviously things I would have liked to have done a bit more, obviously would have loved to get an Olympic medal, but they don't give them away for free, unfortunately. So I was happy to make a final in the Olympics and finish top 10. So yeah, no, when I hear what I've done, I'm proud of myself because I did it through hard work and a lot of people around me made lots of sacrifices also. So very lucky. I got to travel the world and represent Australia, which having travelled, it's the best country I think that you could represent.
And we all know it's not lucky, of course. We all know it's the hard work and dedication, and we'll get to that in a moment. But for the benefit of the crowd, I know you have mentioned you winning gold medals at an Olympic Games, but how many medals, international medals, have you won, Tamsin?
Gosh, I'm not really sure because you run on the circuit, so you win medals quite a few times in races before the majors. So I think for me, the best international medal I won was definitely the World Indoor Gold in 2008, which I won when I was just 30. So for me, a lot of athletes retire sometimes too young. They retire before they get to 30, but for me that medal was like really good reward for sticking at it for so long and for the people around me really believing in me and keeping me in the zone, and I guess for me that was definitely a huge achievement, and one that I knew as soon as I'd won it and I'd beaten an Olympic gold medalist that it's one that I could retire happy.
And representing, probably one of the finest things as an Australian Olympic athlete has to be representing your country at a home Olympic Games, which you had the opportunity in 2000 in Sydney. Tell us a little bit about what it was like, first of all, to walk out at the opening ceremony and then to compete in front of a home crowd.
Well, I recently went and watched my nephews who go to this school. They're in prep, Lachlan and Ewan compete in their school athletics day, and it's exactly the same as that. Like when I got into athletics, I never did little athletics. I got into it through zones and districts, so through my primary school. And I think how nervous I was when I was competing at my school athletics day for primary school was exactly the same nerves that I had when I was competing in front of a home crowd at the Olympics, because it's just the level of your ability has gotten a bit better and you're older and a bit more wiser. Well, you're meant to be wiser. But no, it was pretty amazing. I was the first event of the whole Olympic Games in Sydney for track and field, first heat, and it was nerve-wracking. There was 110,000 people in the crowd, so being the home girl, they were all cheering for me, which was fantastic, and I loved it. It's a moment that I'll always cherish. But as I said, for all you guys who ran at the St Bridget's Athletics Day at Box Hill, it's pretty similar to that.
We have a lot of kids in the crowd here, obviously being at St Bridget's Primary School. When did you first realise that you wanted to be an athlete and represent, and had that burning desire to represent Australia at an Olympic Games?
I think for me it happened pretty early. I remember remember watching the Olympics when I was a kid on TV. I'm sure these guys did a lot of projects around the Olympic Games this year. And when I was doing those projects, I started to really love the whole concept of the Olympics, all these different countries coming together to compete against each other. And for me, that's probably when it started, when I was at school doing projects on it. And for athletics, my PE teacher actually saw that I could run when I was playing chasey in the schoolyard, and I started racing against the boys, and because I could beat them off the same mark, he started handicapping me back, and I'd have to run the boys down, which I often did, which made me love athletics even more, because as a girl it's always good to beat the boys.
There's the thing. Now we have a number of mums and dads in the crowd who are, health enthusiasts, and we certainly at Inspire Fitness we encourage that. One of the things that we encourage is goal setting and to achieve people's goals, whatever level that is. Do you have any tips that you can pass on to them as to how you maintained such high motivation levels for such a long period in your career?
For me, goal setting is really important. As an elite athlete, it's probably a bit easier because you're setting your goals at making an Australian team, which makes you get out of bed to go for that run. But as I'm drawing to the end of my career, when I was overseas this year, there was a point where I thought, okay, this could be it. I may not be racing anymore, but I know that every day I got up and I still went for a run. I think for me, it's like going into those cake stalls. I've eaten a few of the lollies and the cakes, and I know that if I didn't do my exercise, I probably wouldn't keep the same figure that all my clothes that I've got I fit into. So for me, it's a health issue, but it's also the motivation of being able to wear. It's very girly, but able to wear those tight pair of jeans. So everybody has different levels of motivation. You just have to find what it is, and then when you work out what your motivation is, you just keep it in the back of your mind, and that's the reason why when it's raining, you may you get yourself up and you go out there and you go for that run. But it feels unreal after you've done a bit of exercise. I think you feel so much better when you're fit and you're healthy than you do when you're just sitting around being a sloth. I know for the kids of today, there's so many distractions. Everyone's always wanting to play their PlayStation 3s and their Wiis and Xboxes, and I'm guilty. I have a PS3 and a Wii, and I love playing them as well. But it's a balance. I went out to Little Axe this morning to watch some kids run, and I was trying to encourage them to make sure that they continue on with sport after Little Axe finishes into those senior years, because I think even while you're doing school, even when you're out there staying, it's a good balance to have that exercise balance as well, because it's good for the brain. It really is. And as an adult, you have so many different things keeping you busy. The mums here, obviously, I've seen with my sister-in-law, she's got 3 kids, 2 6-year-olds and a 1 2-year-old, and you're so busy, so it's time management. You've just got to fit things in. But the beauty of sport is there's always something you can do. Like, you can do lunges in front of the TV. You can, even with housework, there's things you can do to keep fit. So it's just working out the time and having the energy to do it, I guess.
And of course, being an elite athlete, one of the perceptions out there in the general public is that it's easier for an elite athlete to stay motivated, to stay hyped up. But of course, we all know that you're human, and you can confirm that. What are some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome in your career to achieve those magnificent achievements that you have achieved in your career?
I think some of the obstacles that you do face are definitely similar to the ones that everyday people face. Like, there's days that you wake up and you're just sore and tired and you just can't be bothered. So you need to find a way to motivate yourself, whether it's waiting an extra half hour or just getting out there and doing that first step, because often in a run it's the first 5 minutes that hurts the most. I mean, I've faced things like, critics, and that's pretty hard sometimes to take when you hear negative comments directed at yourself towards what you're trying to do. But at the end of the day, what you do is you surround yourself with really positive people, and you fall back into their arms when you're struggling. And I think an athlete's always only as strong as their team around them. And fortunately for me, I have a great family. I have a great coach. My brother coached me, and I have a great club that I run at that feels like a family club. And that's like school, If there's one kid that you don't necessarily get along with, there's always going to be 5 others that you do. So you hang out with the 5 others and you just be civil with everybody else. So yeah, I'm really lucky. I surround myself with positive people, and when I'm having a bad day, I rely on them to get me back up.
That's a wonderful piece of advice. And I've read I read before that some of your coaches have been some of the best track and field athletes in the world. tell me tell me first of all who they are and how they made the difference in your career to get to where you wanted to get to.
I'm pretty sure they're talking about you, Jazz, when they're saying that the best in the world. My brother coaches me. He's coached me to my world indoor gold and definitely been my gotten the best out of me as all my coaches that I've had. But I'm guessing you're referring to, I was coached by Sebastian Coe and Daley Thompson, and my brother. And Sebastian Coe and Daley both won Olympic gold medals in 1980 and 84 Olympics, and they're still great friends of mine. And Sebastian Coe just actually ran the whole London Olympics, so he's a pretty special person, and I was very fortunate to not only have met them but to be able to call them my friends.